My little one asked me the other day, "Mum, why do I have to take a nap?" It's a question every parent gets, right? So I gave her the classic answer. Because naps help you grow big and strong. I was expecting the usual protest, maybe a little whining, but what she said next just completely floored me. She looked at me with these big, serious eyes, thought for a good long moment, and then declared, "I don't want to grow." Okay, that's a new one. I was about to launch into my speech about how growing up is wonderful. You get to do all these cool things. But she wasn't finished. She followed up with, "I want to stay small so I can eat more." I just stared at her, totally confused. "Honey, what do you mean? Bigger people can eat more food." She shook her head like I was the one who didn't get it. "No," she said with the utmost confidence. "At the dinner table, you always say you're too small. You can only have one cookie. If I stay small, I can say I'm still small and get more cookies forever." The whole family just lost it. We were laughing so hard, we had tears in our eyes. You know, kids have this incredible, unfiltered logic that just cuts through all the adult nonsense. We think in terms of biology and nutrition, and they're thinking in terms of cookie acquisition strategy. It's like they're playing chess while we're playing checkers. And honestly, her logic was kind of solid from her perspective. It was a flawless plan to maximize her dessert intake for the rest of her life. This got me thinking about all the hilarious things kids say. These little gems of wisdom and comedy they drop on us when we least expect it. It's one of the best parts of being around children. They see the world in such a unique and often brilliant way. For instance, my friend's son once asked why we have to work. My friend explained that we work to earn money to buy things like food and toys. The little boy thought about it and said, "Why don't we just print more money at home? Then we can stay home and play all day." You can't even argue with that, can you? It's a perfectly logical solution if you don't understand economics. Another classic example is when kids start learning about rules. My nephew went through a phase where he was obsessed with fairness. One day, his mum told him he couldn't have ice cream before dinner. He pointed at his baby sister who was drinking milk and said, "That's not fair. She's having her ice cream before dinner." To him, a white, sweet drink was basically the same thing. It's this literal interpretation of the world that leads to so much comedy. They haven't learned all the nuances and exceptions that we adults take for granted, and their questions are the best. Why is the sky blue? Is just the beginning. I've been asked things like, if I swallow a watermelon seed, will a watermelon grow in my tummy? Or do fish get thirsty? Or my personal favorite from a friend's daughter, why do we have to wear clothes? The dog doesn't wear clothes and he's happy. These aren't just silly questions. They are genuine inquiries from a mind that is trying to piece together how this massive, confusing world works. They see inconsistencies that we've long stopped noticing. The nap conversation with my daughter really stuck with me though. Her desire to stay small to get more cookies wasn't just funny. It was a little profound. It was about finding a loophole in the system. It was about her trying to control her world in the way that made the most sense to her. We, as adults, often try to complicate things. We think about long-term goals, health, and societal norms. Kids, they are focused on the immediate joy. The joy of an extra cookie, the joy of 5 more minutes of playtime, the joy of not having to take a nap. Maybe there's a lesson in there for us. We get so caught up in the growing up part, the responsibilities, the bills, the careers, that we forget the simple, pure logic of seeking joy. We forget to look for the loopholes that might lead to an extra cookie in our own lives. Of course, we can't avoid naps or their adult equivalent work, but we can certainly appreciate the mindset. It also highlights the incredible developmental journey a child's brain is on. They are constantly forming connections, testing hypotheses, and trying to understand cause and effect. If I do X, then Y happens. For my daughter, the formula was, if I am small, I get more cookies. It's a simple, beautiful equation. As they get older, the equations become more complex. They learn that growing up means you can reach the cookie jar yourself without having to ask. They learn that taking a nap actually gives you more energy to play later. But in that moment, in her little world, her logic was airtight. I think it's so important to cherish these moments. Write them down in a journal, tell them at family gatherings, share them with friends, because they are fleeting. Before you know it, that little logician will be a teenager who just rolls their eyes at you. And the magical, unfiltered commentary will be replaced by one-word answers. These funny little stories become the bedrock of our family's history, the inside jokes that we'll be telling for decades to come. I did try to explain to her later that when she gets bigger, she can have a bigger piece of cake, or maybe even 2 cookies sometimes. She looked at me, a little glimmer in her eye, as if she was considering this new data point. You could almost see the wheels turning in her head, recalibrating her life plan. She finally said, "Okay, I'll take a nap. But when I wake up, I want to measure myself to see if I grew enough for 2 cookies." You just can't win. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. What's the funniest thing your kid has ever said? That one piece of kid logic that made you laugh so hard you couldn't breathe? I would absolutely love to hear about it. Share your stories down in the comments below. Let's create a collection of these amazing, hilarious moments. It's like a reminder to all of us to sometimes think a little more like a kid. Maybe we'd all be a little happier and have more cookies. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today and taking a little trip down memory lane. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about the wild and wonderful world of parenting and kid logic, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out, and it ensures you won't miss our next video. Until next time, keep laughing and looking for those extra cookies. See ya.